This is our buying habits of athletic wear brands. So, going over our agenda, I'm going to go over the introduction and overview. Anthony's going to go over our central message as well as our athletic brand perception. For the key findings, Elizabeth, Matthew, and Ryan are going to go over that in detail. And then Ryan's also going to wrap us up at the end with recommendations for Russell Athletic. So, just kind of going over our introduction and overview. We had a total of 14 surveys conducted. We had 8 male and 6 female, and those are including ours. We went ahead and broke down the interviewees in a chart through class rank. So as you can see, we had 1 freshman, 3 sophomores, 1 junior, and then 10 seniors. And Anthony's going to go into our central message.
So our central message for Russell Athletics would be to analyze buying habits among brands and apparel, also to create a strong brand perception and associations following established brands. So pretty much just like follow in the footsteps of what Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, or even Champion did. Figure out how they did it and kind of follow their footsteps to see how you can dominate the athletic wear industry. For brand perceptions, first one is Nike. They're known for good quality, and they have sponsorships such as LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick, and Michael Jordan. They're also viewed as like the top dog in athletic wear. For Reebok, they're more of older styles, less trendy. My one interviewee actually called it like dad wear. Adidas is very popular in other countries, very trendy. Under Armour has a good reputation and very good quality, according to interviewees. Puma is like a sports lifestyle brand, more associated with soccer, whereas Russell is associated with football. And Umbro is not very popular in America. I know my interviewees didn't know what that was, nor do I. And Vans is just not associated with sports whatsoever. Now Matt's going to go over our key findings.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. So, like you said, I'm going to talk about some key findings. So we found in our interviewees that the popular brands were usually Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. I actually interviewed 2 different girls, one sophomore and one senior, and they actually both mentioned Lululemon. Just didn't mention it here, but I thought it was worth noting that seems to be a popular brand among our girl interviewees. And then your unpopular brands were Puma and Reebok. Those are kind of specific to different sports and scenes, it seems like. So maybe if you're a soccer player, you would get some Puma cleats or something, but it didn't seem like our interviewers were really interested in that. They didn't really talk much about Russell, which is who we're trying to recommend. So maybe that's kind of telling that they need to get their brand out there more. And then some kind of the influences on why people pick specific brands is comfort, the value, how much do they think it's worth really, the quality, the sports sponsored association. That'd be kind of talking about like celebrities, when it come to mind when you think about athletic brands. So that was one of the questions we asked was, what celebrity comes to mind when you think about athletic apparel just in general and why? So number 1 was LeBron James. That received 8 of the votes. Obviously, he's probably a top 10 globally known person. So when you think about athletics in general, you just kind of LeBron James is that first thing to pop in your head. And he's so massive with what he does with Nike. I think that's kind of just taken what Nike was, which was, kind of emerging as the top company, to really put them into the stratosphere. And then obviously Michael Jordan, he kind of really he was obviously before LeBron, he kind of brought Nike up with his Jordan brand. You have the Jordans, you're going to run faster, jump higher. That's the perception. So, and obviously people think of him as the greatest, kind of one of the greatest athletes ever. And then when you think of Kaepernick, you think of it more for a different reason. You think of for social justice. You think of that iconic ad, I think it was 2017, that really kind of shaped the way that and what people can talk about in athletic ads. You don't have to be just an athlete. You can talk about your social justice, use your platform. So now I'm going to pass it on to Elizabeth, who's going to talk about some more of our key findings.
Thanks, Matt. So when looking at our key findings, we found some differences between males and females' perceptions on different athletic wear brands. Specifically, males prefer functionality and comfort when making purchasing decisions and shopping for athletic wear. And they also look for good deals on high-end brands, but they're willing to settle for good quality from lower-end brands and cheaper prices. Seeing top athletes, such as Matt mentioned in the previous slide, like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Colin Kaepernick wearing certain brands influences purchasing decisions really heavily in the market. Females are not so heavily influenced by sports, whereas men seem to be, and they don't really use this. It doesn't really influence their purchasing power when looking for athletic brands. They're more influenced by popular style trends at the moment and what they see potentially on social media, by social media influencers promoting different brands and what's popular at the moment. Most interviewers also forgot about Russell Athletics at first until we mentioned it and asked about the perceptions of the different brands, which I thought was interesting to note. But especially once we reminded them, they remembered that they were really popular for football gear. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ryan, who's going to discuss our recommendations for Russell Athletics.
So given the research that we've conducted thus far, we developed some recommendations for Russell Athletic. Fashion and celebrities are very important when it comes to apparel, so it would be reasonable for Russell to consider sponsoring a professional athlete. Russell is also available in Walmart and on their website, but a good next step for them would be to continue to expand into other retail markets. Having a bigger presence on Amazon would be a great first step for that. Reaching out to influencers for sponsorships could also prove beneficial. And the final big step for Russell Athletic will be to try to get back into sponsoring college athletics programs. All of these would go a long way towards making noise for Russell Athletic in this space, especially on the social media front. Garnering this kind of publicity through tactics like apparel rights for a big university or getting a major athlete will give Russell Athletic a lot of flexibility on social media. The end goal we have for Russell Athletic is to follow in the footsteps of Champion, meaning that Russell can go from a brand that was once sold at Walmart at lower prices to a strong, reputable brand that stands alone in the athletic apparel space.